Hi everyone, it's Lisa here from ProWritingAid, and welcome to another session in an ongoing series of events for writers. I know there's a few new faces here today, so welcome. As most of you know, we love bringing in experts to help you develop your writing skills, and when we hear about a new technology that's popping up in our Facebook group or in any of our communities, our ProWritingAid Academy, and people seem to be talking about it, we always reach out to the team behind it and we invite them in and we ask them to come and talk us through it. So today we've got Ryan and Cameron. Ryan and Cameron, are you there?
Hello.
Hello.
There they are. I love that part when you just magically appear out of the ether. Good, so thank you for being here. I feel like we suddenly are hearing tons about Plottr in our group, and it was actually one of our freelance writers who put us in touch and said, this is the software that I'm using and that's really changed things for me. And so you need to reach out to them and become friends. And so then we did. So how long have you guys been doing Plottr?
Well, I've been working on it for a long time as kind of like my passion project. But we relaunched it last May as kind of a real deal thing.
You're going big now, are you?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, cool. So what we're going to do structure-wise is they've put together a bit of a slide presentation just to talk you through all of the different elements, and then I think they're going to take you right into the tool and give us a bit of a tour. So I'm going to hand over, and then I'm going to sit in the background and eat some snacks and learn all along with the rest of you. So are you, Ryan, Cameron, one of you happy to take over from here?
Yeah, I'll get started.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Thanks, Lisa.
No problem.
All right. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Cameron, can you see my screen? Awesome.
Yeah.
So thanks everyone for being here. As Lisa said, we're going to talk to you about Plottr and specifically how Plottr can help you outline your novel. So first things first, what is Plottr? Plottr is a visual outlining and book planning software for writers. It was originally released in 2017. As Cameron mentioned, we just relaunched it this past May 2020. And since then, it's been downloaded by over 20,000 writers, which is pretty amazing. So you might have seen it on some different places across the web, including ProWritingAid. And authors have had some nice things to say about it, and we really appreciate them for doing so. So to introduce myself briefly, I've been working with authors since 2013. I founded Book Sweeps, which is a book marketing giveaway company that you might have heard of back in 2016. I was based in the New York City area. I'm currently living very briefly in Nashville. And I joined Plottr as a partner in 2020, and I'm an aspiring author myself and eagerly using the platform to help develop my own book projects. So Cameron, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, great. Hi, everybody. I'm an indie YA author and a software engineer by day. And it says I live in Utah, but I just moved actually to Oklahoma. I do have 6 kids, which are awesome. And I released Plottr, the first version, back in 2017. I was, just writing on the side during lunches and during whenever, and I was looking for kind of the right tool to fit my process. And after rewriting one of my books for probably the 3rd time, I just kind of was frustrated with my process, and I was looking for a more visual way. I had this picture in my mind of how I wanted to plan out my story, and I tried a bunch of things, Excel, just different ways of keeping notes together. And I wrote with Scrivener, and I still do, but it didn't have the visual appeal that I just could imagine in my mind. And so because I'm a software engineer, I just started kind of building it for myself and for my writing group, and it just started growing. And then I joined forces with Ryan back in 2020, and we relaunched it as like a real product. So I'll hand it back over to you, Ryan.
Awesome. So before we get into the demo, you might be wondering, how can Plottr help me? So these are things that authors tell us, that it helps them plot and outline faster. It helps them write cleaner first drafts. That helps improve their productivity and save time, helps them have more fun writing, and also that it's affordable. And we will have a special offer forthcoming at the end of the presentation. So what we're going to cover here, as I said, we're going to talk about how Plottr works, and Cameron's going to take you through a demo of the software. We're going to introduce a special offer for the ProWritingAid audience, and we will take your questions at the very end. So with that, Cameron, I will hand it back to you.
Okay, let me share my screen. Oh, you're gonna have to stop. Okay, hopefully everybody can see my screen.
Looks good.
And I'm really excited to have you here and to show you Plottr and how it's going to help you to craft better stories in less time, and just visually outline your story. So what I've got here is the main screen that you'll see when you open a new project in Plottr. We call this the timeline. And as you can see, it's not very cluttered. It doesn't look hard to use. We want it to be very friendly. And some people even say it looks fun and easy to use. So that's what we're going for. And you can see you've got your chapters across the top here. We can just easily add more. And then you have your plot lines or character arcs down the side. And so I've got the main plot. I can add in like just a subplot here. Maybe another one is the main character's arc. And we can change the color of any of these that we want. Maybe we want that one to be green, and maybe the subplot is kind of a romance subplot. So we'll give that a nice romance color there. And then at the intersection of each one of these, you can create what we call a scene card. So we'll just click here. We'll call this an event. And you can just drag these around to anywhere. So say you want it later in the story, you can easily do that. Or maybe you want it belongs in a different plot line. You can just drag and drop them around. It's really easy. You can also click into these scene cards and add more details to them. And to show this better, I'm going to flip over to a project that I've already started here, which is the story of the three little pigs. And we're going to use this demo for most of it. So most of us already know the story. You know, the three little pigs leave home for the big world. They start building themselves some homes. And as you can see, each pig makes a different one. So pig one makes a straw house, and then pig two is a stick house, and pig three is a brick house. And then Wolf was passing by, maybe he smells the pigs. And then he goes to visit pig one. He blows his house away, and pig one runs to the home of his brother, pig two. And then you know the rest of the story. He keeps blowing down their houses. And then he can't blow down pig three's brick house. So looking at this, it's a very visual, easy to grasp representation of your story. And this is one of the powers of visually planning out your story here. So as I mentioned, you can drag things around. So I could drag any of these cards to anywhere I wanted in the story. I can drag whole chapters around too. So if this chapter should happen beforehand, I can easily move it around to wherever I want. I don't want to break the story of the three little pigs though, so I'm going to move it back. And you can move these plot lines around as well. You can just drag them to any position you want. So I mentioned earlier that you can click into these scene cards and add more details. So I'll show you that right now. We're just going to open up this first one. And up here, you've got a title. You can add all the description that you want for this scene. So this is where all your notes for the scene will happen. Like what beats are in the story? What do people say? What happens? The scene intentions, the goals for the scene. Anything that you use in your process to plan can go right into here. You can also link characters that are in this scene, where it takes place, and any tags, which we'll get into more, but they're really great for organization. And you can change the color of it. So let me show you that. I'm gonna change it to green. And then when I go back to the timeline, it really pops out at you. So you can see that, you know, for example, if green for you means I wrote this scene, you can see, hey, I already wrote this one, and you can see all the ones that you've already written. Or if some people use it for different points of view. So all the ones that are green are maybe pig one's point of view, and all the yellow ones are pig three's point of view. So it just visually pops out at you there. You can also filter to be able to easily see the things that are important to you. So I'm just going to filter to see the ones that Mother Pig is in. And so the ones that she's linked to are just this first one, but it's really obvious. You can also filter on a lot of other things that we'll talk about in a bit. One other cool thing you can do in the timeline here is you can flip it so that the plot lines are across the top and the chapters are down the side. So for some people, this makes way more sense. They like seeing it this way. For me, I personally like the horizontal view, but for some people, it just really is the way that they think. And then you can zoom in and out to see it at different sizes. So if you have a really big story, seeing it this small is great because then each card is just a dot, each scene is just a dot, and so you can get a good feel very easily of, oh, hey, how much is Pig 3 in the story, or how much does the wolf show up? And so this is a timeline for book 1, and Plottr is great for planning out and organizing a whole series of stories. So you can go to this project tab here, and Three Little Pigs is just one story, but let's say we're a series. So we've got The Wolf Strikes Back as book 2 and Revenge of Mother Pig as book 3. So you can have a separate timeline for each one of those. So I click into that one. You can see that I've already changed things a little bit, but it's a separate timeline for that story. So I can go to book 3 right up here. And so it's a brand new timeline for each story. And there is a timeline for the series as a whole. And this is really awesome because you can see the series as if, like a bird's eye view, as if each book were just one chapter in a larger story. So all the same things, you can have different plot lines running throughout the series. Each book can be a point here, or maybe events that don't even show up in any book. So as I'll show you a little bit later, Plottr is great in a lot of ways to help you keep everything for one whole series together in your Plottr file, in your project here. So I'll go back over to the Three Little Pigs, book 1. And now I'm going to show you the outline. So the outline tab here is more of a traditional vertical view of your story. Most people are used to this. You can jump around to whatever chapter you want. You can edit it right from here. Put in all the details. It's a really great way to vertically view your story in order. You can also filter by the different plot lines. So if I just wanted to see the main plot, because maybe I'm ready to write and I just want to see my notes for what actually shows up on the page, I can do that. Or if I want to see just where Pig 1, 2, and 3 show up in the story, for example, I can see just their character arcs. And it's really easy to spot plot hole right here, because if something's out of order, you can see, if Pig 1 runs to the home of Pig 2 before he even makes his house, that's an obvious, that's out of order and there's something wrong there. So you can quickly pick up on that. And you might be asking what these little colored squares are. And those represent the scene cards in each chapter. So here in chapter 2, we've got 4 colors, 4 little squares, and those are the same that you see over here in the timeline. I'm going to flip back here. See, chapter 2, it had 4 scene cards. So in the outline there, you have 4 of those colored squares. So it just is another visual representation to see where the characters show up, what's happening, just at a glance. So the next 3 tabs I want to show you up here are the notes, characters, and places. And these tabs are where you'll keep all your story Bible information, all the things for the whole story, all your notes and ideas, you can keep in one place. And it really helps you stay consistent throughout the whole series. Because I don't know about you, but for me, when I've been writing, it's happened so many times when I'll have, a note on my phone somewhere in some app, and then I'll have a note on a Google Docs on my computer somewhere else, and then I'll think of something, I'll write it on a piece of paper somewhere else. And by the time I'm in book 3, it's hard to keep track of things in book 1, and it's hard to find those notes from the beginning, So this is going to really help you to stay organized and keep everything in one place. And when you're writing book 3, you can go back and look at your notes from book 1 very easily and say, oh yeah, his hair was red or something, you know. So notes here, this is a great place for world building, brainstorming, backstory, any ideas that you're not sure of yet, project planning, magical items, all in one place. And then you can tag or link characters, places, and these tags, and then filter by those things. So if I want to filter by just the ones that I have a tag for what status they are, and I'll show you that more later. So I can just see the ones that are done, that I've considered, you know, I've fully filled out this note. Or if I just wanted to see ones that are about Mother Pig, for example. So you can see they have images here. You can have a rich text when you're editing this. You have bold, italics, different fonts, titles, lists of things, links and images. It's all really handy for you to have rich notes and put all the details you want in there. Characters and places are really powerful too, because there are custom attributes. And what that means is, for example, here in this book, we thought that what type of house one of these characters built was an important thing to track, and maybe what their primary trait was and their role, and a couple other things. So we've added a custom attribute for each one of those things. So type of house, role, gender, primary trait. And it can be a paragraph or it can be one line. So when you create those there, they show up for each character. So Pig 3 here, he built a brick house and he's a hard worker. Whereas the wolf, he didn't build any house and his primary trait is just hungry and mad. So you can track these attributes for each character, and each story is going to be different and everybody does it differently. You know, for some stories you'll care about their magical power or their eye color or their height or their job, things like that. So all those things can be custom attributes. And here in the character, they're organized into categories. So you got the main category, the supporting, other, and those are customizable. And then again, you can filter and sort just to see the ones that you want. For example, if you just want to see the ones about book 1, so we could filter and just see book 1. So these are the characters that we said are in book 1. Maybe they don't show up in book 2 or book 3. So that'll help you stay organized for a whole series and keep notes for each individual book separated and categorized. So then places here is very similar. Oh, the little toolbar for Zoom is getting in the way there, so I gotta move it. So in places is very similar. You have custom attributes, and for this story, we felt like, the owner of the place was important, whether or not it blows away and what it symbolizes. So for the brick house, it symbolizes hard work, it doesn't blow away, and Pig 3 owns it. So you can track attributes about the different places. Maybe it's weather pattern or what planet it's on or what company it's for, if it's a building or something like that. So all the places in one spot in Plottr. So that's notes, characters, and places. Great place to keep all your details in one spot and not worry when you're on book 15, you know, what you wrote in book 1. So the next one here is tags. And I've mentioned tags before, but to explain them a little better, tags are great for organization, but they're really customizable to whatever you want. So in this story, the way we've organized it is we've color-coded a few of these into different kind of categories here. So we've got these blue ones that are different stages. So the climax, the falling action, for example. And then these orange ones are the status. So done, in progress, so forth. And then these green ones are thematic ones. So some of the themes of the story are hard work, danger, safety, things like that. So we've kind of color-coded these into the different categories of tags. You're welcome to do that. You don't have to do that. It's really up to what makes sense to you, but you can make them any color you wish, and you can call them whatever you want. And then once you've created these tags, you can go back to the notes, for example, or the characters, and then filter on those things. So we've added a tag of the status here is to revise. So maybe we want to think about some of these things yet. So you can filter by those tags and just see those ones. Same thing for characters and places, and also in the timeline. So we mentioned filtering before, but you can also filter by the tags. So we can see the ones that are done. Maybe we've already wrote those. Or we can filter to see the themes. So the theme of hard work, for example. This we feel like is an important theme in the story of the Three Little Pigs. But as we're going through this, there aren't a lot of cards, scene cards that are tagged with that tag, hard work. So it just really pops out at you that, you know what, maybe my story isn't about that, or if it really is about that, then I need to go back and change. So it makes it really easy to catch those things before you ever write the first draft, that like, oh yeah, this isn't actually about hard work, or maybe it is and I need to change what I've written. So that's tags. There are a couple other things here on the timeline that I want to go over that are just really powerful. The first one here is exporting. And I've gotta move this thing again. So exporting, right here you can export, and you can export it to Word and Scrivener. And one of the great things about Plottr is we try hard to make it easy to go from planning your story to writing in just a few clicks. So you can export right to Word and Scrivener in just a click, or you can go into these advanced options and kind of customize what gets exported. But I've already exported one here for you to show you. So this is the export in Word, or the story of the Three Little Pigs exported to Word. And it gives you a full outline, all the notes for your characters and places, and all the notes you have in there. And it has all the details for the whole outline, all the things you've linked to it, all the characters, places, and tags. All the different scene cards are in here. And you can see that they're organized in a way that Word makes it easy to jump to them. And this is great for a couple of reasons, because some people like having, you know, a hard copy of this. So they'll print this out and have it next to them while they're writing, or in case of anything catastrophic to their computer, you know, they have a hard copy. But also if you write your story in Word, you can go from plotting to writing in 2 clicks, and then just start writing your story right away. I'll also show you right now Scrivener. So you can export it to Scrivener, and this is what it looks like. So it gets organized into these folders, and each scene card is a document. That's what they call them in Scrivener. So there's a document for each one of your scene cards that come right from Plottr. So we'll show you there in chapter 2. Those are your scene cards, and here's the documents right here in Scrivener. And they have your notes right from Plottr in there. And you can customize where these things get exported to. But then you can just start writing right here in the document, and your notes from Plottr are right there. So you don't even have to flip screen. It's really easy. And all your characters, places, and notes are in here too. So you can see all the things you've written about them. So that's exporting to Word and Scrivener, and it's really great. People really love it, and it makes it really easy to just start writing right from the minute that you're done planning your story, to just start writing it. And the other thing I want to show you here in the timeline is this idea of templates, or different story structures or plotting methods. There's lots of different plotting methods out there, or structures. Probably a lot of you have heard of the hero's journey, and lots of others out there. So Plottr has a bunch of built-in templates, and I'm going to show those to you right now. So you can create a project from a template, and we've got a whole list of them here. There's the snowflake method, if you're familiar with that. But I'm going to show you this romancing one, or this romance template called Romancing a Beat. And this one is really great. This was actually created by the author of this method. And there's a bunch of details in here for each step. For this template, they're split into beats. So there's like 16 beats, 20 beats there. in this method. And so each one has notes about it. And so you can, if you know this method, your story, or well, let me show you actually a little bit better here. So this one is actually also split into phases. So the first phase is setting up the romance, then falling in love, then retreating from love, and then fighting for love. And so the way she's done it is it's here. So this is phase 2, and then you scroll to phase 3, and then phase 4. So it's really powerful, because if you are familiar with the writing process or with the story structure, then you can you create a new project with this template, and you can just start putting your pieces of the story in there, and you already have the structure built for you. So it's really fast, really great way to just get writing or to get planning and then writing even faster. But if you're not familiar with the writing process or this story structure, then it gives you guidance, and you can learn how to write a romance story or a mystery novel. These templates are great for helping you to know where the pieces should go to make it a really great story. And there's a bunch of templates in here that we have. So there's some for screenplays, there's some for nonfiction, there's some for just general stories, there's some for action stories. Lots of different ones in here, and we're always trying to add more. And you can add your own custom templates. So if you have a method that's not in there, or if you get one, a file somebody has shared from you, a Plottr template, you can add it into your templates here, and then you can use it for all your other projects. All the projects, just create a new one right from your template. It's your own custom template. It's really great. So this kind of ends the demo of Plottr. There's a lot more that it can do, a lot more we haven't gone over. But I hope this will show you that you can visually plan out your story, and that will help you to craft better stories. And it's going to be more fun. It's going to take less time. And we have a lot of resources for people to start learning Plottr. We have a bunch of videos that Ryan's worked really hard to make. There's a Facebook community that people ask questions, and there's just really great support there for getting your questions answered. Like, how do I do this in Plottr? Or I've got this kind of story. How would you organize that? Or just questions like that. So there's a lot of support for you to get started using it, and if you have any questions. And so if you do have any questions right now, we're going to have a question and answer section later at the end of the presentation. So we'll be happy to answer any questions about it. We can show you more things, show you how things work. But until then, I'm going to hand it over to Ryan and stop sharing my screen here. So there you go, Ryan.
Awesome. Thank you, Cameron. So thanks everyone for watching. As Cameron sort of to summarize what we just went over, you can see there are a number of ways here that Plottr can help you craft better stories faster. From visually organizing your stories, spotting and avoiding plot holes, creating story bibles, using the proven templates, then exporting and getting writing. So you might be wondering at this point, is Plottr right for me? Is this a tool that I'm actually going to use? So these are some reasons to think that the answer is yes. A, you're a visual thinker. B, you already have a process, but you don't really enjoy it. Doesn't quite work for you. C, you find yourself disorganized and kind of pantsing your books because you just can't imagine or understand or think about another way of doing it. And then D, you worry about pacing and losing sight of plot holes. So I want to share a few case studies with you. So Michael Anderle, who is an Amazon best-selling author of science fiction and fantasy, says that with Plottr, I am allowed to realize the story my creativity is encouraging me to express. So before Plottr, he used Excel and Scrivener, but found that Plottr is a more natural tool for him. Since he's started using Plottr, he finds missing scenes, can add them easily, which helps him save time and improve structure and ultimately have more fun when he's actually writing. Celia Kyle, who is a New York Times bestselling romance author, says that she has saved so much time and energy when writing due to Plottr. Those are her caps, not mine. No more skimming past books to jar my memory or verify facts. Before Plottr, she was sort of like Cameron with notes basically everywhere. But since she started using Plottr, She finds it easier to verify facts and timelines while plotting and writing. And finally, Troy Lambert, who is a mystery author and a book coach, says that if a story just feels wrong or isn't working, he can pull it apart scene by scene on a Plottr timeline and see right away where the pacing is off and where there are problems. Before Plottr, he had tried lots of different methods, nothing quite worked for him. Now he's a big fan of using Plottr's templates to map out first drafts and uncover plot holes before he actually publishes his books. So Plottr, as Cameron went over, really includes all of the tools that you need to plot out a book: visual timelines and outlines, the story Bible, functionality, the templates, and we can go into more detail into how those work in the Q&A, custom timeline and character templates, and we can share more of that as well. And a number of time-saving tools like Scrivener export, autosave, etc. We also are constantly updating Plottr. We generally have at least 1 or 2 updates a month with some sort of new feature. So we do have new starter templates coming. We have a new community templates area that should be done in the next, hopefully, short bit that'll allow users to upload their own templates and download templates from other people in the community. We are planning a search and replace functionalities in case you decide to change your character's name halfway through the planning process and need to update all of your cards, etc. We are planning, a feature I'm really excited about is a chronological timeline view. So you saw Cameron show the flipped view. Another version of a view that we'd like to create is one where you can see your timeline and scene cards in the order in which they occur chronologically, as opposed to sort of story time, which will be really helpful for people writing historical fiction, for example, or books where things are constantly moving from the past to the present. And we have a large and very long roadmap that's public that you can see what other ideas are coming. You can also add your own ideas, and we take those ideas and the votes that you submit to the roadmap very seriously when planning out new features and what we prioritize.
So let me show you the dashboard. So this is the dashboard of your recent projects. So it just lists out, the projects you've been working on. You can create new ones. If you get a file from the internet, you can open that one. You can create a new one from the template, like we showed here. It also stores your backup. So Plottr does have a backup system where it daily backs up any of your work. Actually twice daily. So at the beginning when you start the file, and at the end when you end using the file. And so you can see those here. And this is just on your computer. It's not in the cloud anywhere. So if your computer crashes, you'll still lose this. So you'll have to keep those in like Dropbox or something like that. There's also help from here, which you can get to documentation, frequently asked questions, demos, and things like that. Give us feedback. We love getting feedback. We love making things, features and things that people have suggested to us, because that's where most of our good ideas come from, people's ideas. And we've added a lot of people's ideas into Plottr, and we're always looking for more and more to be able to help you write better. So, okay, another question is, will it function with Scrivener 3.0? So it does actually currently work with Scrivener 3.0. Right now it exports to Scrivener 2 files. And Scrivener has a way of just automatically updating for you. So you open it, if you have Scrivener 3 on your computer, you just double click that file and it will automatically update to Scrivener 3. So it handles that for you. Another question here is, are you going to add other programs that can be exported to? Yes, we have some ideas for other ones. It looks like you've got some ideas in here, like Google Docs that I actually hadn't even thought about. So yeah, thanks for that idea. And we're definitely planning to add more ways that you can export it in the future.
For example, we are planning on integrating with Dave Chesson's program Atticus. So you'll be able to either export to Atticus, for example, or import from Plottr into Atticus.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool. That kind of made a big splash. So, Somebody also asked about importing from Scrivener. Yeah, I mentioned that we're going to be able to, we're working on that. You're going to be able to import from a Scrivener file. It's going to be cool. So somebody else asked, would you be for or against actually writing within the Plottr? And so that's a good question. So Plottr is very focused on planning out your story. And we believe that trying to do too many things in a software tool is going to make it actually worse overall. So right now we're just focused on planning your story. It's technically possible to write your story within Plottr, but that's not the focus. So I'm just reading the rest of this comment here.
So someone has a question. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say that, yeah, it's possible to write in it, but we're focused on planning. Go ahead.
Someone asked a question about the offer itself. Someone says, I heard you say there are annual and lifetime licenses. The link in the chat doesn't specify. The link in the chat that I provided is the lifetime license. If you want to use the code for the annual license, you can just go to the pricing page and enter in the code PWA, and that will solve that for you.
Okay, so another question here is that I did the demo too fast, and that this person would like to get into the templates, so see the templates again. So let me answer that right now. So here in the dashboard, you can click this Create From Template. And then there's a list of the templates here. So the hero's journey, snowflake method, for example. And then you just create a new project with that button. And create a new one. Somebody else also asked if after, so if you buy it after using the trial, is there any, do you have to transfer, or is there anything you have to do to do it from trial to full license? And no, it's continuous. All your data stays in there on your computer. You just keep using it like normal. Somebody else asked if this is Mac only or PC. It works for both, and also for Android and iOS. And they stay up to date at the same time. So Mac and Windows is always up to date, always on the same version. There's no long lag between Windows when Windows gets updated. And also iOS and Android stay up to date as well. So there's no lag between the two. They stay up to date at the same time.
Someone has a marketing type question. What about folks who don't like using Facebook? Any hope of an email group? Yeah, so if you sign up for the free trial, you'll be added to our newsletter. And we send out emails about once or twice a month with updates and other fun information about what's going on with the product.
Somebody else asked, will you add a family tree function to support multiple books for those doing historical fiction? That's an idea we've gotten a lot, actually, the family tree for characters. And yeah, we're definitely planning on that. We're planning, we're trying to figure out the best way to do that within the program, but yeah, we're planning on it.
Someone asked, how do you get to the dashboard? So basically, when you open Plottr initially, it'll open up to the dashboard. So you just click the icon once you've installed the icon for Plottr on your computer. Once you've installed it, and then it'll pop right up. You can also access it from Cameron. You can show this from the project section.
Yeah.
So if you head over to the project tab,
move that again.
You can then click Open Dashboard.
Or from the File menu, Open Dashboard. Somebody asked if there will be a replay. Yeah, there will be. There will be a replay. Another person asked if it's, so they said it's not available for web-based OSs like Chromebooks. Currently, no. But as Ryan mentioned, we are working on a web version of this that will be out later this year, so you will be able to use it on Chromebooks. Somebody else asked, if you buy Plottr for Life, will it transfer to a new computer? Yeah, you get a certain number of licenses, and then if you get a new computer, you just deactivate the old license and put it on the new computer.
Someone asked, can I copy and paste from Word into Plottr?
Yes, yeah, you can copy anything from Word and just paste it right into Plottr.
So just a general question about resources. So beyond the Facebook group that we have, we also have a YouTube channel where we post our tutorials. There is a website as well called Plottr Academy, where you can find those tutorials as well. And if you purchase the application, you have a login where you can track your progress through those videos as well. We have a support team that's constantly tracking answering questions for people, so you can get help there. There's also a whole bunch of documentation around the app that's being updated on a regular basis. So there are a number of ways you can get help if you need it. Someone else asked, is the plan for the web version to sync with desktop and mobile? Yes, that is the plan. And we are very excited about that.
Yeah. A couple of people have asked about this, and I've just been typing answers, but I'll just say it here. So a lot of people have asked about a template for Save the Cat. And I know that's a really popular plotting method, and we'd love to have it. It's currently a community template that's probably floating around somewhere on the Facebook group, but it's not in Plottr. We're working on getting the permission for that and to put it into Plottr, but right now it's a community template. So in the top right corner, there's this little bell, and that's our way of communicating that, hey, there's a new version or something new important with Plottr. So you can see, hey, new version right here, new features. And then Plottr will tell you on the dashboard, hey, there's a new version, and it will, you can decide this in settings, but it will automatically download and install for you. And so it'll just kind of auto update without any problems. If you don't want that to happen, you can turn it off. But
will I post a link to the annual version? The easiest way to get to the annual version is by going to the pricing page. So I'll just post the pricing page itself. And then you're going to want to stick in the code PWA if you want to purchase the annual version.
yeah, there's also another question here that I want to answer. Somebody asked, is it cloud-based or does it run natively on your PC? Yeah, it runs natively. It's something you download onto your computer. It's not in the cloud. Oh, here it is. Here's the question. So somebody asked if they wanted to specify how long a scene will take, then how would you do that? So let me show. So there's a couple ways you could achieve this. You could either change the titles up here, and that's one thing I didn't really explain, that these are customizable. So you could put in Monday if you wanted to. Those don't have to be auto-numbered. The other way that you could do that is there's custom attributes on each one of these scene cards. So if we wanted a time or a length custom attribute, then we could add that. And then for each scene, you would have that field to be able to fill out. So the time or the length. So you could say this one lasts 3 days. So you could have that for each one of your scenes. So that's a couple ways that you could do that.
Asked, how does Plottr help with plot holes? We kind of went over that in the demo, but Cameron, do you want to talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah. So there's a couple ways that it's going to help you. For example, here when you're looking at the timeline visually, you can see, well, one of the best examples I like to use is the villain. a lot of people don't think about the villain and what the villain is doing when he or she is not on the screen or on the page. So if you have a line here for the villain, you know, what is the wolf doing back here? Who knows? You know, and that might be where you discover the plot hole. You might start thinking, what is he doing? And so it doesn't make sense that, wait, why is he smelling the pigs nearby if he was over in, you know, Australia the day before? So that's one way that it helps you. You can also see that things are out of order. So if he's in chapter 4 up on a mountain, and then chapter 5 somewhere far away, and you might not see that until you're looking at it visually, and it would just kind of stand out to you there, like, hey, that doesn't make sense. That he needs to. How is he going to be in 2 places at once, essentially?
How does he get, or how does the character get there? Yeah.
Yeah. How does the character get there? That's what I meant to say. The other thing is filtering. So if you using tags and characters, it makes it even easier for you to see. So if Mother Pig, for example, you know, is in chapter 2, well, it's kind of the same idea. You can see, but it just pops out at you more what the character should be doing, and it'll make sense to you. Hey, that character doesn't make sense. Why is he doing this when right before he was somewhere else? So, and then again in the outline, how I explained before, this thing over again. You can see here that things are out of order, or these little visual representations here, these little colored squares. If the you know, if something doesn't make sense, if the main character doesn't show up in a scene and he needs to be there, or you're talking to him and he never was there, then, you know, you'll be able to kind of visually see that here.
Let's see what else people ask here.
You guys, I warned you that you get a lot of questions here. I can see that there's still 23 open. The ProWritingAid community is nothing if not engaged and full of questions and curiosity. It's quite fun to watch them put you through the paces. But we're nearly out of time. There's 5 minutes left. What do you think are the most important things that people should know about Plottr as they head off into their day or into the evening, depending where they are in the world?
That's a deep question.
How is it going to change their lives? Or their
I'll say that
lives, anyway.
It's completely changed the way that I plan out my stories. It's planned, or it's changed just the way I think about story writing. Being able to see the different threads of a story that you're kind of weaving together and seeing them visually has just really changed the game for not only planning out your story, but also for going back and editing your story and getting feedback from like a writing coach or somebody, just for them being able to see the story and say, so Troy Lambert, who is a writing coach we work with a lot, he whenever he gets a client's story, he puts it on a Plottr timeline and he just points. He just points and says, that's where your problem is. And it's so obvious and it's so quick, and it makes it so much easier to kind of grasp the story and for other people to give you feedback and for you to see your mistakes. And so it's really changed the way I write it. And then also with the series, being able to see a whole series at a bird's eye view, just been changed the way that I write.
Yeah, and I think, you know, for myself, I was a pantser for a long time, and I really was a reluctant planner, and I just sort of fought it for a while because somehow it felt constrictive and it was forcing me into a certain direction. But I am now a total convert. I'm a real planner. I plan everything. You know, every article on our blog that I write is outlined in advance because I just find I never get to those. I just rarely run into those blocks where I don't know where I'm going, because at least I have like a destination in mind, and so I can just keep going. So I think for everybody in the community that's watching that feels like they're a pantser at heart and is like, but wants to dip their toe into planning, I feel like this is the tool to help them do it, isn't it?
Yeah. I know we have a couple minutes left, but one thing that we've seen with pantsers is that either there's never been a tool that has worked the way their brain thinks, and a lot of them just see it and like, oh, this is what I needed. This is how my brain thinks, and this is why I didn't plan. Or the other situation is after you've written the first draft, coming back and putting it on a timeline to visually be able to edit it. It's just been a real game changer for a lot of pantsers. And I'm somewhere in the middle, you know. I like to pants, but I also plan out a lot of it.
And I think for another, interesting use case is just, again, as Cameron showed, all the templates that are in the program. If you're new to novel writing, or if you're new to the idea of outlining, being able to go through those and just experiment with different options and seeing different ways of outlining a book can really change your perspective.
I think if you've got something ahead of you, sometimes it lets you realize what you don't want. And like, so here's how this is running, and like, oh, but I don't want that, and I want to move that there, and then I can do that, and then that feels okay, as opposed to just having a blank page where you have to try and start from scratch and put all the elements in.
Yeah.
Yep.
See a lot of benefits in that. I'm really sorry to the 28 questions that didn't get answered. But I'm sure that Cameron and Ryan would be happy to answer questions. What's the best way for people to reach you? Are you guys on Twitter, or should they email you if they've got specific questions?
Yeah, I mean, if you have specific questions about how the product works, I would probably post them in our Facebook group or send us a support email. So that's support@plottr.com. And I think I posted the resource links in the chat if you're still looking through there. But you can find all the relevant links on our website. There's a resources page or drop-down menu where you can find all those. Okay,
great. Well, thank you for taking the time to walk everybody through it, and thank you everybody for coming along. And in case you haven't spotted it, there is a 25% off sale going on the ProWritingAid website. So if you haven't gone premium yet, this is a good week to do it. And yeah, I think that's where we've got to end. We are officially out of time. So thanks for being here, guys.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
All right. See you and see everybody soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.